Hi gamers, we're back. We're back from Go Fest. We're back from New York City. The place where dreams are made of, or so they say. So chat, I did a thing, and I need you guys to all promise me that you're not gonna panic. No panicking. Okay, chat? Also, Chantal, thank you so much for the 10 months. I appreciate it. Okay, chat, you're gonna lose your lid a little bit. You're gonna lose your marbles here for like just a second. All right. Chat, I did a thing. I did a thing. And guess what? You guys are stuck with this. Not permanently. Not permanently are you guys stuck with this. But for days where I don't have the capacity to be on camera, this is what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? So, that's the goal. So, yippee! That's the goal. The chat too? Yeah, the chat's different. I upgraded that one a little bit ago. So that one's not like horribly new by any means. But it's a time. We're having a blast. We're having a dandy. She is beauty, she is grace, she will punch you in the face. Well, you see, I do my best, right? I simply do.
You know what? I think we're gonna be friends.
What? Action! Action! Thank you for the raid. I appreciate you. Thank you, gamer. How's your stream? How did it go? Hopefully you guys are all doing a great day. Doing a good day. Having a great day. You know how it would be. But thank you so much, Ipper, by the way, for resubbing. Call me Philadelphia because I'm a 76er for 76 months.
I think we're gonna be friends.
Wait, we got double rated? I don't know how you double rated, but that's neat, and I appreciate you. Thank you, gamer. Thank you. So kind, so generous. Thank you. Hi, 𝗟𝗡𝗔𝗚𝚗, how's it going? So yeah, I did this. I feel like this is way more like engaging than the other one is. You know what I mean? Like it's way more interactive. You know, I can be like, hi chat. I tried to talk to Shan about like how to set all this up, and well, I messaged her earlier today. I didn't get to the part about setting up because I never heard back. But I'm gonna see if she can help me out with like the kinks and the smaller stuff and like that kind of stuff. But that's the goal. That is the goal. I tried rating you on mobile. So that's what happened. That's what happened. I'm understanding. I am understanding. So, yeah, it's been a whole time. That's what I spent like all of today doing, chat, because I was like, listen, like the bear was fine, the other one was fine, but I feel like this is just way more like personable. You know what I'm saying? So that's just where we're at. How are you? Chat, raise your hand if you heard the story of how New York was from Vandy. Raise your hand if you guys know how bad New York was. Yeah. So all of you guys know. I heard it from John. Oh, chat. Like there are actually just no words to describe how bad this was. To be honest. To be completely honest. So for all of you guys who like heard this story already, are you guys like down to like have a story time again? Slightly? I heard it from Rich and Vandy. Right. I heard it from Rich, who heard it from Vandy. Right, chat. That's how it goes. Okay. So, Dan, thank you so much for the 65 months. I appreciate you. I know you had some not great things happen this weekend, but I was in a car accident Sunday. That's awful. That's so bad. I hope you are okay. I pray that you are okay. I'm so sorry. That's awful. You know, at least you get your money for your car, and I need everything to be okay. You know what I'm saying? What a throwback. I went to Nebraska Furniture Mart last Wednesday. There were a Switch 2 release event, and they had Switches connected to TVs outside, and everyone who played the game got a raffle ticket. I played a game, and my raffle ticket won the Switch 2? That's so insane! Congratulations! Congratulations! That's amazing. Especially, did you have to pay for it, or was it, I mean, assuming it was free, right? Because it was a raffle? Right? Surely you didn't have to pay for it? That's massive. Yeah, it was free. That's so sick. I'm so happy for you. Literally so happy for you. Okay. All right, chat. Let me put on the story time music here. Okay. All right, gamers. Let's have story time here. Okay. Here we go. I want everyone to just buckle up, because just when you think this story is like over, it just keeps going, right? Okay. So we're going to start this off on the day that we have to go to the airport, right? So fun fact, I found out the day before I left for New York that my entire extended family was in town. So I had to like switch stuff around at work, because they told us literally the day that I left that they wanted to like come see me and my brother, right? Which is fine. I don't care. I would love to see them. I haven't seen them in like 7 years. Love them dearly. But I was like, ooh, this is a little stressful. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So I wake up. They're here like frame one of me like waking up in the morning, and I'm like, oh goody. So I rapidly get ready. I rapidly just do like everything that I can in order to like get all of this like just, you know, there's only so much time, right? Like we had to leave for the airport at like 12:30, I think it was, something like that. And my family showed up at 10. You see what I'm saying? That there's time constraint. Love them. Very happy I got to see them though. Let me tell you guys that much. So I spent time with them. Vandy meets us at our house. Out the gate, insane traffic into the city in Atlanta. So we were already like gonna be delayed by the traffic that was going on. So what used to be a normal like time that I was able to predict to go to the airport, got raised by like 30 minutes, if not more. So kind of crazy there. But so we finally make our way to the airport. And for any of you guys who have ever flown through the Atlanta airport before, Shan! Listen, I texted you. Listen, I need your help. I did this all by myself. I set it up today. I think I did it. Listen. We need to have a girl time, but I did it. This looks amazing. Thank you. I did it all myself in like 2 hours. My main thing is like, I don't feel like the mouth is tracking very well. That's the thing that like bothers me. But other than that, I'm stoked. And I have all the like the eye effects and, you know, like the yay, all that kind of stuff. Are you using phone or webcam? I'm using a phone. I watched a lot of videos on it, and I heard a lot of people say that like iPhone is just better for it. So I'm doing a phone. That's what I learned from my research. If that was bad, then I messed up. But a lot of like video tutorials that I did were like comparing everything. Okay, so phone is definitely better. Sick. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. I did that. I got that part done. But yeah, this was very impulsive, which is why I didn't tell you about it in New York. I just kind of woke up today and I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this. And I got the dopamine hit and I did it. But yeah, I did it in like 2 hours and that's my accomplishment. Ahaha. So, I might need your help doing everything else and making the mouth track better because I don't know what I'm doing. But I got it functioning, and that's pretty sick. You know? Anyways, chat. Okay. So, I don't know how many of you guys have flown. I'm telling the New York story. That's what you came in on, Lucky. But Maynard, thank you so much for the 13 months. I appreciate you. Linz, do you think Legend ZA is gonna have shalfas? I hope so. I think that would be really sick if they did. I just don't know how, like, they might be like a, Legends Arceus exclusive. You know what I mean? Like, they have to keep something unique to Legends Arceus. So I don't know if they're gonna, like, have that just be like Hisuian forms, or whether they're gonna have that be, you know, the Shalfas and all that kind of stuff. So it really just kind of depends. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, Jellybean? So I would hope so, but we'll see what they end up doing. I'm sure we're gonna get another trailer here in, like, what, June, July, when they're doing the next, like, Pokemon Direct or whatever. So, yeah. Anyways, chat. So, I don't know how many of you guys have flown through the Atlanta airport before, but at the Atlanta airport, you have some, girl, you're a VTuber. Chat, hi. I did it. I did it. No, you're all good. I knew you were busy, which is why I didn't want to bother you, because I knew that you were, like, very stressed, and the last thing I wanted to do was throw another thing on your plate. But for those of you guys who haven't been through the Atlanta airport before, there's the North Gate and the South Gate. So basically, because the Atlanta airport is, like, the #1, like, Delta hub in the world or something like that, basically, South is just all Delta. It's an entire area of the airport that's just solely dedicated to Delta and everything Delta. And then they stuck North is every other airline in existence. So, we were flying Southwest for the flight, right? And so we were like, okay, so we need to go to the North parking garage, so then that way we can park all that kind of stuff. And keep in mind, North and South, obviously, very far apart. Atlanta Airport, also, by the way, chat, biggest international airport in the world. That's another factor that is very important to take into consideration. Largest international airport in the world. So, we go to the North parking garage, on top of the fact that traffic was already really bad getting into the city. And there's just a whole line of cars, and they're all stopped, which I've never seen happen before either, just a long line. And there's, like, a person out there who's, like, trying to, like, talk to cars and direct traffic and stuff like that. We come to the conclusion after sitting there for 15 minutes, not moving. Keep in mind, we're already late, chat. Already late. That, the North parking garage is, like, full. And they were, like, telling people, I guess, where to park, but we were never just told. And so they were trying to direct people to, like, a different route and a whole bunch of stuff like that, but we didn't know what was happening. So we decided we were gonna follow a random Subaru, because you know what? That's what makes a Subaru, is getting us to New York on time, right? So we followed this random Subaru into, like, a different parking garage. Thankfully, we were able to find parking, but by the time we made it through security and made it to our gate, chat, we made it on our flight with 10 minutes to spare. 10, count them, 10. So we're sitting on the plane, right? Finally make it. We're all peeing our pants at this point. And the flight attendant gets over the intercom and says, hey, by the way, chat, they didn't call us chat, but you know what I'm saying? By the way, this is a full flight, but we have a bunch of people on standby. And if you know anyone who's waiting to be on standby for this flight, potentially, just know that their chance of getting on this flight is very high, because anyone who's flown in Atlanta before, you might be familiar with the plane train. The lovely subway that goes through the Atlanta airport that takes you to all of your terminals. Why do I have 2 Streamloots things? Anyways, so the plane train takes you to your terminals. It's a subway, right? Apparently, right after we got on our stop to get on the plane, right? Nifty fun fact, right? The plane train broke down. Plane train, no work. which means everyone has to walk to all of their terminals, which in an airport at that size, massive wait. You're walking for a schminute. So, I guess the plane train broke down as soon as we got on the plane. And so a whole bunch of like standby people were going to be put on our plane because of the fact that everyone who tried to be on the plane was not able to actually get on the plane because the plane train broke down. On top of that, as a nifty little fun fact, right before the plane took off, we had a nifty little power surge on the plane, and I was like, oh my God, please just let me get to New York in one piece. Just let me get on to New York in one piece. I should have realized that them not letting me go to New York and just being like, hey, your flight's canceled, darn, oh well, would have honestly been a better shot. That would have probably been better. So, we finally make it to New York, and we're like, yay, we made it. Keep in mind, turbulence, crazy. Everything else, crazy. Diabolical, just shenanigans, right? We get our Uber to take us to this lovely, and I mean, just God's gift to man hotel. And we come to the conclusion that our Uber has a death wish. They don't wish to live, chat. And they have taken their emotions, their everything out on the citizens that are the poor tourists for New York. The most reckless driving I have ever seen in my entire life. Keep in mind, I have been to New York before. I have been to Boston before. The driving up there is just a different breed. You are just praying you make it to your destination alive in one piece anytime you take an Uber in the Northeast, is what I have taken, like, just acceptance of, I guess is the word. However, chat, this driver was insane. We counted, I think we almost got in like 10 car accidents total, if not more. So that was really neat. That was really awesome that, you know, I was just afraid for my life 24/7. They finally drop us off at God's Gift to Man Hotel. A lovely 4-star hotel that is in Times Square, right? Lovely, lovely hotel. We walk into the lobby and we're like, hey, this place is sick. This is so much better than the hotel we had last year, because the hotel we had last year, chat, basically didn't even have a lobby. There was basically no lobby. It was just small room, reception desk, and elevators that took you up to whatever floor you were on. And that was basically the extent of our last hotel that we had. This one had like neon lights. It was really retro. It was sick. The vibes were immaculate, chat. Immaculate. So, I hate this place. I hate this story. So, we finally get the keys to our room after waiting in line, because this is a very poppin' hotel, we have come to the conclusion of, because the line was crazy. So we get the keys to our room, we make it upstairs, and we walk into our room and say, hey, our room's 80 degrees. Also, hi, Hannah. Hello. And as you can tell, chat, that's hot. That is a hot temperature for it to be. So we make our way back downstairs and we're like, hey, Smile, because we also found out the phone to our room didn't work. That was a really fun part of that experience as well, was the phone not working and that having a whole other factor to everything. You know what I'm saying? But we're like, hi, Smile. So we just checked into room XYZ and our AC is broken. It's 80 degrees. And they said, did you push the buttons? And he said, yes, we did. The AC is on. And there's no air coming out at all. Actually, nothing's happening. And I said, well, did you push the right buttons? And he said, right. So we pushed the buttons and we tried and we did all of those things. And there's no air coming out of our AC unit in any way, shape, or form. And so after arguing with them, they're like, all right, we're going to send a technician up to your room and they're going to fix your AC for you. And we're like, great, fantastic. Love that. So technician is in our room faster than we are even able to get back up the elevator, which was very alarming and like kind of impressive. You know what I'm saying? So they push a few buttons and they're like, hey, so it's gonna work. Good luck, if you will. They're like, it's gonna take a little bit for it to cool down. So I don't know, like twiddle your thumbs, do whatever you want to do, but just know that the temperature's not gonna go down right away. So I would give it at least an hour and then like let us know if it doesn't go down. So we're like, okay, right? I'm hungry, Coob is hungry, Vandy's hungry, all that kind of stuff, right? So we go get dinner and we come back. And lo and behold, chat, we come back to our room being 80 degrees. Right. So they have another technician come up after we complain again. And this technician completely disassembles the AC unit in our hotel. Like just takes apart the whole thing. And they go, yeah, so your AC's broken. And we're like, right, yeah. So we assumed that with the fact that the AC didn't work. And they're like, yeah. So we're like, okay, so do we like just go to the front desk and like request a new room, or like what's the plan here, you know what I'm saying? And so they're like, yeah, go to the front desk and complain again. So we go to the front desk, and after like arguing with them for like 45 minutes, chat, because they were telling us that we weren't gonna get a new room. They were like, sorry, we're not gonna give you a new room for that. And we're like, no, yes, you are. I'm not staying in a room that has no AC at all. That's what's not gonna happen, right? So after arguing with them for 45 minutes, we finally convinced them to give us a new room. However, keep in mind, chat, the room that they gave us, you know how there's like typically 3 numbers attached to your hotel room? So like, for example, let's say we're like 726, right? I want you guys to know the new room that they gave us would have been 626. So literally directly below. The exact same room, 1 floor below. Insanity, right? Ariel, thank you so much. I appreciate you, gamer. Welcome to the stream. I appreciate you. But, so, here we go, chat. We get into the new room. And you're never gonna guess this, chat. There's no AC. And we're like, huh, who would have thought? Who would have thought that we would walk into a brand new room at this brand new hotel and round 3 of no AC. So we do what any normal person does and we go back downstairs again. And we say, hey chat, so we have no AC. Can you please fix it? So they're like, this one doesn't have it either? And we're like, correct. There is still no AC in this entire building. I am pretty sure at this point in time. Also, Logan, thank you for the 41 months. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you. So, they have another technician come in, and they also disassemble our entire AC unit. And they tell us the same story of, hey, I think I fixed it, but it's gonna take time for it to cool down. But we at least feel cold air coming out of it at this very moment in time. So clearly that means it's working at least a little bit, right? So I'm gonna need you guys to just twiddle your thumbs, do whatever you wanna do. But when you guys come back, it should be fixed, right? So we do that. I think we go to Taco Bell and we get some like freezies and we do our stuff and we come back and thank heavens, chat, our AC works. Keep in mind, we were the first people to land into New York. So Jason Shan were coming behind us, Rich was coming behind us, John was coming behind us, and we are all in the same hotel, right? So we were like the first people, and we're documenting this to everyone the entire time. We're like, hey, so just be aware that we have now had 3 AC units that did not have AC. So I'm praying that you guys get here and your AC works because this is not, it's not looking good. It's simply just not, right? You know what I'm saying? So they check in, right? And I believe Rich and Charlie had no AC. No AC either. So they got in a whole debate with the front desk counter. As they're having a debate with the entire front desk, keep in mind, it's like midnight at this point, chat. We flew in late. They didn't even get into the hotel till probably like midnight. And as Jason, Shan, and John and all of them are coming, they're like, hey, by the way, NYPD is here. the police. They're all around the building. And we're like, oh, really? That's crazy. And they said, yeah, we asked the front desk what was going on. They got a call on your floor. Your floor. So, we were like, hey, so we're just not gonna go outside. Actually, we're just gonna lock the door and we're gonna pretend none of this happened. Right? So, Rich and Charlie end up negotiating for a new room. Keep in mind, they went from 2 queen beds, and I think at finally the hour of 2 a.m., because they had to go through the same process that we did, they were finally given a quote-unquote new room, right? This room was really bad, Chad. It was really bad. So they went from having a queen bed to 1 singular double bed. Two grown men. 1 double bed. They spooned the whole weekend. They were nice and cozy, chat. Happy Pride. So, so here's the fun thing, Logan. These rooms are so ass, there was no couch. You wish we could have had a couch. This hotel, absolutely not. We are not privileged with such kindness and necessities here. So, through all of this, Shan, you can correct me if you're wrong, but I believe, oh wait, yeah, you weren't here the first night. It was just Jace. So Jace had working AC when he got there. John had working AC when he got there. Allegedly, right? It was so early in the morning at this point. We all wake up. Jace's AC broke in the middle of the night. So he had no AC when he woke up. We get a text message from John in the morning that says, hey guys, I know that we're all going through everything right now. And I don't want to be the one to complain because, like, obviously the person who decided to book this hotel didn't know what was going to happen. Didn't know that it was going to be a bad hotel by any means, right? What if I told you guys, chat, that John woke up, had brown sludge coming out of his faucet. His bathtub was dirty and had a whole bunch of spots and, like, fascinating colors attached to it. He had no towels in his room. On top of the fact that his wall was freshly painted and it just kind of smelled like ass, to be honest with you guys. But I'm going to use the word painted very loosely with air quotations. Basically, I think something happened in that room and they just chose to paint over it, but they didn't choose to actually paint it well because the wall was just a conglomeration of different textures and colors. So it was like a tie-dye effect and like drippy nastiness coming off of the wall that they just painted. It was so gross, chat. It was so nasty. It was like the Landlord special, except in the 7th layer of hell. Like the Landlord special, honestly, probably would have been better than what that was. Like, I'm just gonna keep it a stack, chat. So at this point, half of the group's like, nah, fuck this, because like the hotel was not trying to do anything for John. They, like, did not help him basically at all. So John and Shan and Carthu, they all get a new hotel. I can't blame them, to be honest. Like, that was probably the best call that they could have made. But we're like, all right, our park pass isn't until Saturday. Let's at least go, like, have fun around Times Square, all this kind of stuff. Not Times Square, Central Park. And, like, do a whole bunch of, like, Pokemon catching and all that kind of stuff. It'll be great. It'll be an awesome, fun time, right? Haha. Haha. Once again, we were solely mistaken. So we do our Pokemon catching and we do all the stuff that we like try to do, want to do, all that kind of stuff, right? Vandy starts getting really lightheaded and starts being like, hey guys, something's just not right. And then his legs start vibrating very aggressively. And he's like on the ground. We're like putting water on his neck. And we're like, did you eat enough before you came here? And he's like, I don't know if I did. And so we're like, okay, let's find the nearest like Chick-fil-A. Let's try to get him some food. Maybe he just like didn't eat enough and all that kind of stuff. We get him to Chick-fil-A. Man doesn't even eat. And I see this guy like just leave the planet actually. Like he is not in his body. And I'm like, hey, babe, how you doing? And like when Vandy's like not okay, he does this thing where he like becomes half nonverbal, half just like mad at himself because he's like not how he wants to be. So you're getting like very few word responses out of him. He's like, I don't know. It's just fine. You know, like the man response, if you will. So, in a wonderful fashion, I'm like, hey, I think we need to go to the hotel. And I think you need to take a cold shower. I think you need to take a nap. I think you need to just, like, not be here. I think this is what needs to happen. And then he's like, fine. I'll order an Uber. You know? So we get the Uber because it was way too much to walk and we didn't want to, like, deal with it because it was just, like, way too much. You know what I'm saying? So in the Uber, man rolls down the window, has his arm like where the windowsill is, and just like dissociates. He's looking out the window. It looked like something you would have seen in a movie. I took a picture of it because it was just so like out of a movie, genuinely. Man was not on this planet. Apparently he was trying not to throw up, but you wouldn't know that because again, you weren't getting a lot of responses out of him. We finally get him to the hotel room. And I had him he didn't want to take a cold shower because our AC was actually working overtime. It was like 65 degrees in our room, which is like way better than 80, right? So he was like shivering. So I was like, all right, we're going to take a cold rag. We're going to put it across your neck. You're going to take a nap. You're going to have some electrolytes. You're going to just go honk, shoo, me, 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 me. And you're going to feel better, right? I think you just need to rest, King. I think that's what you need. And then when you wake up, we'll get you some nice food. It's gonna be great, right? So we do all that. Side note, during all of this process, me and Coob and everyone else, we start hanging out with like Shan and everyone like that. Just as a nifty little side note, we went to this like anime place that had a whole bunch of just like really niche anime stuff. They had Pokemon cards, they had a whole bunch of stuff, and we found Labubu's. I didn't know, like I had never been on Labubu train, but Shan was really into it. And Shan was like, oh no, if only someone would do a blind box opening with me. I would be so sad if that happened. Oh no. And so me and Rich were like, fuck it, we ball, right? So we all buy Labubu's, or what we think are Labubu's at this point, because they were $45, chat. And so in a nifty little way, right? We open them, and Shan seems like pretty legit, right? Rich's seems pretty legit. I open mine in the same package, same bunch as both of them, right, chat? And I will have you know, not only was my Labubu's head sewn on diagonally, but it was ripped open at the neck. On top of the fact that like I had a pink one, and the pink dye got like smothered and smeared on its face. And somehow that got approved in the packaging and was sent and sealed. So this was like the Lafufu of the like Lafufus. We come to the conclusion that like all of them are fake. We did our research. We found out we got skamazed and they were all Lafufus. However, at least Shan and Rich's were passable. I kid you not, chat. When I finally put myself on camera again, I will show you this thing. It is a monstrosity to mankind. The head being sewn on diagonally really just was like the icing on the cake, to be honest with you guys. So, right. So we go to bed and we're finally feeling better. And in the wee hours of 2 a.m., just as a nifty little side note, nothing came of this, but someone definitely tried to break into our room. And we're like, oh, they probably just had the wrong door. It happens to us all. You know, it's early in the morning. It's 2 a.m. They just, you know, whatever. It's fine, right? It's just the wee hours of 2 a.m. You know, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. So, it's finally Saturday. It's park day, right? We wake up. And keep in mind, Vandy and I, we're going to hang out with Blue and New. You guys know them here on the channel. They hang out all the time. Hi, New. It's a neat time. I don't want to dock Newt's real name, Shan, but the redhead in chat. And so, I lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah, Blue was supposed to be our ride, chat. And the crazy thing is, Blue was MIA all morning. No one heard him. Not a word, not a peep, nothing. Nothing. And so we were like, I don't know if we're gonna have to like get an Uber to the park. This is really neat to find out at the very last second. Well, I guess we'll figure it out, chat. So we're just like stalling for time. We're walking around Times Square because it's Saturday, and so they do a whole bunch of like little pop-up shops and stuff like that. We find more Labubu's, chat. And we're like, what are the odds we get Lafufus twice, right? And so I was like, listen, if these are real and they're not fake, I will do another blind box opening. So Shan does one first, I believe. It was either Shan or Shan and Rich. But, they open it, we find out it's real, like actually authentic this time. And so, we're like, slay, sick, we're so good, we're so back, right? And so I open one, it's real. So I have new Labubu, who's not Lafufu, and his head looked great, it was sewn on properly, all that stuff, right? And we're like, thank God, we're so back, chat. We're so back. And at this point, we finally hear from Blue, and Blue's like, hey, I'm alive. That's so neat. We're not gonna have time to come and get you guys. Otherwise, we're gonna get there at like 5 p.m. Keep in mind, chat, the park started at 2. So I was like, all right, you go get Newt. And we're just gonna figure this whole thing out. We'll meet you there. Ain't no worries. So we get that sorted. We get an Uber, right? And in a wonderful, fantastic fashion, it starts torrential downpouring. Torrential downpouring. So much so to the point that John, who's at the park all day, is like, hey, this might just genuinely get rained out. You guys might get your passes canceled because this is like so much rain that like we don't know what we're gonna do about this. So keep in mind, like Blue and Newt both live in New York. So Blue had to go drive to Newt, and then they had to drive from Newt to get to the place. So it was like 4 hours of them like trying to get this commuting thing sorted out. If not like something like that, right? So I'm like, listen, if this whole thing gets rained out, and like we've been planning to like hang out with Blue and Newt for like months now at this point, if they're like halfway here and this has already been like an all-day commuting experience for them and this shit gets canceled, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know how I'm gonna break that to them. So, yeah. We're in our Uber trying to be like, this shit cannot get canceled. There's no way. There's no way this shit can get canceled. And we pull up. It's still raining. But thankfully, it starts to end. And we finally just like, I don't know what happened. But the radar decided it was going to have all of the rain go around us. Which was really sick. I don't know how it happened. I think Pikachu did a humble prayer and God said, you know what, little rat, you deserve this one. Because the rest of the park experience up until 5 minutes before the end was like actually really nice. There was sun, it wasn't raining, it wasn't freezing. And then luckily, 10 minutes before the event ended, then it torrential downpoured. But we got shinies out of it. Blue and Newt were able to show up totally fine. And we ended with a rainbow. So it was really cool. The rainbow like went all the way over like the city, and it was really cute, and it was really peaceful, and it was very nice. It was very slay. And then we all went to Dave & Buster's. We had eaten beforehand, so like we were not hungry. We were not hungry at all. But we had like silly little drinks, and then we all did Dave & Buster's crane game extravaganza stuff, where they had the human crane. So we dangled Newt in the air, chat. And we said, all right, pick out your prize, king. And Blue was like, how much for you to just like dangle him and just spin him a bunch? He doesn't even need the prize. And so the guys were like, hey, yo, bet? And he's like, please, please. And so they got him up in the air and they just spun the shit out of him. It was so funny. So that was a really funny time. That was a really funny time. We ended up getting like inflatable bananas and stuff out of it, but then we decided it was way too much of a hassle and nobody really wanted that shit, so we gave it back. So we did that, and that was really fun. So we got to hang out with everyone. I got some Dippin' Dots. We opened some really scuffed Pokemon packs as the prize little thing. They were the fakest Pokemon cards I've ever seen in my life, but they were giving them away for like 1,200 tickets or something like that. So we just said, fuck it, we ball. Let's see what happens, right? And so we finally say goodbye to everyone. We're like, hey, Newt, hey, Blue, we might see you tomorrow, depending on if you guys can make it into the city. We'll figure it out, but I hope you guys have a swell night. We go to bed. And we think everything's fine, chat. We think everything's fine. Keep in mind, for those of you guys who do not know me, like, that well, right? Your girl's got really bad insomnia. Horrible insomnia. And so because of that, I was not able to sleep the entire trip. And so instead of, like, actually sleeping through the night, I had this wonderful little moment where I would have, like, little mini naps, and then I would wake up. So I would like have a hard time falling asleep. I would finally get to fall asleep. I would fall asleep for like an hour, and then I would wake up, and then I'd be wide awake, and then I'd have to force myself to get tired again, and then I'd fall back asleep. You know what I mean? It was like that cycle. So I had just woken up and was like, hey, so I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick. And so in the process of using the bathroom, chat, I'm like in bed, I'm falling back asleep, and I hear our door open. And I'm like, it's 5 a.m. Vandy's next to me. My brother's next to me. What do you mean? And a man walks into our room. And he does not work for the hotel. Ah-ha-ha. And so I start tapping Vandy in a very rapid fashion. And I'm like, you need to wake the fuck up right now. You need to wake the fuck up. What an awful time for Twitch people to get an ad. And so Vandy and Coop get up and they start like yelling in this guy's face. And he's like, sorry. Oh my God, sorry. And so he and his, I'm assuming son, based off what Vandy said, book it. They leave. And thankfully, in this new room that we have, we found out that this phone actually works. And we call the front desk and we say, hi, Smile. Someone just walked into our room at 5 a.m. and we do not know who they are. And they're like, so they didn't break into your room. They had a key to your room. And we said, what do you mean by that? What do you mean they just had a key to our room? And they said that I guess sometime earlier in the day, it was not anyone on the night crew who was currently working that did this, but I guess they just walked up to the front desk and said that they were looking for their mom and that they were staying in the same room that we were and that they lost the keys to the room. And the front desk, instead of doing any like security measures, just gave them keys. The front desk just gave them keys to our room. And so thankfully we found out that nothing was stolen. Because we were really afraid that like you know, Vandy's laptop was in there that had like all of his video stuff on there that he was posting from. I had my Kindle. Like, there was stuff that they like could have stolen. Absolutely 100%, right? And we're like, okay, so what do you okay, for those of you guys who had a Twitch ad, basically Vandy and Coob like kicked him out of the room. They apologized. They scurried. But it was like freaky because they did not work for the hotel, and like the person behind him had flashlights, right? And so when we called the front desk, they were like, hey, so they didn't actually break into your room. They had a key to your room because someone earlier in the day, I guess, just gave them a key because they said they were staying in your room, and they were looking for their mom. And that's what we got. So we were like, all right, so now what? Right? Because we're like, what is being done about this? And they were like, well, just go back to bed. Just go back to bed, chat, is what they said with a straight face. And they said, you can talk to the general manager when he gets here at 10. And we said, respectfully and disrespectfully, absolutely not. Because if they still have keys to our room, what do you mean? And they're like, well, we deadlocked your room. And we said, oh, well, that doesn't help us. That doesn't help us at all. So what are you gonna do about it? At no point in time, chat, did they offer to put us in another room at all. And so Vandy's like, fuck this, I'm going downstairs. And Coop's like, fuck this, I'm also going downstairs. And I was like, head to toe trembling, right? But I'm like, fuck this, I'll go downstairs. Yep, that's sure me. Absolutely. And so we go downstairs, right? And the people that did everything, like, they were at the front desk. And I did actually get to see them in the light, right? And they did not look menacing in the slightest. But the situation's just like weird, and that like doesn't help, you know what I mean? Like, you know? But so they finally get a new room. They like gave back the keys to our room, right? I don't know, like the front desk was saying like maybe like they were supposed to check in tomorrow, and so like because we were supposed to check out that morning, like they were supposed to have our room after we checked out, something like that. Yeah, it was just like, I don't know, there were so many factors that just didn't line up and just didn't make sense. But we do this whole thing, and the lady at the front desk was like, I'm so sorry that this happened to you. I'm so sorry. Keep in mind, I'm like crying, right? And she's like, let me hold your hand. I have daughters. If they were 30 and like all of this stuff happened, I would feel so bad. And like the manager was like, listen, we're gonna get this sorted out, blah 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 blah. We deadlocked your room, there's no way, blah 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 blah. And so we basically give up, because they basically were saying that there was nothing they could do until the general manager got there in the morning. But keep in mind, at no point in time did they ever offer us a new room. So we attempt to sleep, or what could be considered sleep after that point, and our phone rings as we're trying to fall asleep, and it's the front desk, and the guy goes, hey, Smile. So we've decided that we are going to give you a full refund for this entire trip, for everything that you have gone through, because this is ridiculous and this is unacceptable. And we're like, yay, refund. That's great. That's perfect. For all of the nights? Yep, all of the nights, right? And he's like, but you still should come down and talk to the general manager at 10, because like you absolutely should talk to him at this point. And I was like, you're right. So we do our best to fall back asleep as anyone would in this situation, right? And Vandy and Coob wake up at 10, and they go back downstairs and they talk to the manager in the morning. And guess what the manager says, chat? That we're not getting a full refund. He took away our full refund from us and said that because there wasn't technically an incident on Friday night, that there was nothing that they could do for that night. And we are only getting a refund if the guy will even put it in writing for us, because we booked through a third party. So they have to put it in writing what refund we're allowed to get, and then send that to Vandy, so Vandy can then send that to the third party to hopefully get it for the 2 nights. Right. Isn't that super slay? So we're like just over it at this point. We check out so fast and we like put all of our stuff in John's room. We're functioning on fumes and just like the most espresso you've ever had in your entire life. And so we walk around Central Park, and Shan and Jace have a flight earlier than we do. We haven't heard anything from Newt and Blue all day until we finally find out Blue saying, hey, I'm freaking dead. I am not making it into the city. And I said, I don't blame you, Chief. Sayonara. It was great to see you both. And Jace and Shan are like, hey, that's our cue to go. Our flight's in like a normal amount of time. We're going to leave so that way we hit our flight on time. What if I told you guys traffic was so backed up that their like 35-minute Uber drive turned into an hour-and-a-half Uber drive and they missed their flight? And Delta said there was nothing that they could do because there were no more flights for the entirety of the night going to Atlanta that had a spot. So Shan and Jace got to argue with Delta for hours to try to figure out what the fuck they were gonna do because they didn't have a hotel, and it's like $100 to Uber from like Times Square to like where they were at. And so
𝗏𝗏 says, so Lynx, where on the feelings wheel are we?
Catastrophically down bad. Like cataclysmically crashing out. Insanity is where we're at. And so finally, I guess after negotiating with Delta for like however long that they did, they finally got him onto like a flight, right? So, but it took hours of trying to figure out what the hell they were gonna do because it was just another thing, right? And they were like, hey, if you guys have a flight, you guys need to leave like ASAP because I don't want you guys to go through the same thing we did. So we left like way earlier than we were expecting to. And same thing, our like 35-minute flight took over an hour. I don't think it was an hour and a half, but it was still pretty bad, right? So we get through all of like the like regular part, and we have like an hour before our flight boards by the time we get to the airport, and we're like, okay, sure, fine, no, we're great, yeah, this is fantastic. And so if my partner manager is listening, no, you're not. My like, what do you call it? Like my package of like new advanced GG accidentally got sent to Newt because I sent Newt a care package for advanced GG for like an event or something like that. And so because he was the last address that was saved into my advanced account, my like care package that my partner manager sent me of like more powder got sent to Newt. And so because we were meeting Newt in person anyways, he gave it to me so that way I could have my advanced GG powder back, right? So we're going through security, right? Did you guys know that if you check dietary supplements like advanced GG that are in powder format in your like non-checked bag, that they have to test it to make sure it's not a bomb? They pulled Caden's luggage aside and had to do 7 different bomb tests on it to make sure that it was not explosive or ignition powder or anything of the sort. So they did like 7 different there were 2 tubs. That was 14 tests total. And I was like, listen guys, it's really not that big of a deal. You are more than welcome to just throw this away if this is a hassle. I do not care. I can get more. I can order it. I listen, I do not care. And they were like, no, it's fine. We'll just test it and then we'll give it to you. And we're like, right. So, they test it, and it took a really long time, but thankfully it wasn't explosive powder, as it shouldn't have been, right, chat? Congratulations, Advanced GG did their job, and it was indeed a dietary supplement. So, we make it to our terminal, we do all this stuff, I get a happy little sandwich, I get my 2nd dose of caffeine, I'm feeling good. We finally board our flight, and we're like, thank God, get me out of this fucking city, because the pollution's so bad. Everything smells. It's awful. I turned into a mouth breather on that trip because the smells were so bad. I was gagging constantly because of the pollution from the subway, on top of the food trucks, on top of the weed, on top of just like the sheer amount of like homelessness that there is. And so because of that, like a lot of people just don't have hygiene and they're on the streets, which is like just so sad. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so gross. And so you walk around and you literally feel like you need 3 showers by the end of the day because everything is just happening. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so much air pollution. There's so much smog. It's just so yucky. And so We're like, at least we're done. We're fine. It's over. It's over, we said. Or so we thought. And so we get on the plane, and there is a man who is standing behind a woman. And this man is very clearly someone who is of the LGBTQIA variety. And the woman in front of him was trying to like get her bag up in like the overhead compartment, and I guess she couldn't get it. And like, because our flight was so booked on the way back, there really wasn't a lot of room up there anyways. But her shit was heavy, and so the flight attendant, instead of trying to like meangle through like a whole bunch of people, just turned to the guy, and she was like, hey, so I need you to help her with the bags and all this kind of stuff. And he was like, me? And she was like, yeah, I need you to help that chick and the chick behind you with their bags. And I guess this person had some sort of like physical disability on top of it or something like that. And so like he like tried to help, but then everything kept falling, and it was just like this really like, I felt bad watching it kind of a thing, you know? And so they gave up and they weren't able to do it. I don't know if they ended up having to check the luggage or whatever, but the guy sits down in his seat and he turns to the flight attendant and was just like, hey, so I just wanted to let you know that like I really didn't appreciate that being like put on me, because you just kind of assumed that I was physically able to do this, and you put me in charge of like all of these people's things when I was not physically able to do that, and you just kind of assumed that that was something that I was capable of doing, and I'm not, and I didn't appreciate that. And the flight attendant was just like, right, well, I just assumed, and blah, 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 blah. And he was like, right, but that's not fair for you to assume that I'm physically able to do that and to put that responsibility on me, because I could have hurt not only myself, but other people, right? And so then they got into it because she didn't really want to take the blame, and la, 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 you know what I mean? So all of that settled. It like started getting heated between them two for like a second. And the guy who's sitting behind the guy who was complaining and like, you know, standing his ground on saying like he wasn't physically capable of doing all that stuff, etc. The guy taps him on the shoulder, chat, and I kid you not, he looks at him dead in the face and says, you know, you're making a lot of noise for someone who's not even a man. And he said, are you even a man? And the guy, I kid you, my jaw dropped. My jaw dropped. And he said, what an awful thing for you to say to me, especially during these times. I cannot believe you would turn around and say that to me. And he's like, well, are you actually one? And like started to try and like literally start a fight on the plane. So then he was like, I really don't want to talk to you right now. This has been a very traumatic like experience for me so far. And I am not allowing you to like ruin this flight for me. Please stop talking to me. And he turned around. And then like people just kept talking to him. Like the girl who was next to the guy tapped him on the shoulder, and he was like, I said I did not want to talk to anyone. Please stop touching me. Please stop poking me. Please stop talking to me. I just want to be on this flight, and I don't know why this is so hard. You know what I mean? And so we're like, oh my God. Like Vandy and I are all looking at each other. We're like, wow, this shit just is not stopping. It's still like, how is this still happening? So we finally make it out of the, like, you know, like where you get onto the plane and then they pull out and they drive around and do their little loop-de-loops before you get on the actual runway, right? We basically get on the actual runway, chat. And then they hit us with, hey everyone, so we're going to be delayed here on the runway for about 20 minutes due to a traffic jam. Somehow planes can have traffic jams while we're on the runway. So we had to sit there for like 20 minutes. And then we were finally able to take off. And we're like, thank God. Bless. I have never been happier. So much turbulence on the way back. That was really sick. And we land and we're like, thank God we're free. I missed Atlanta so much. I missed Atlanta. And we're like, thank God we can just get our stuff. We can go aboard the plane train. It's gonna be so great. Right? So, no, we didn't go to Newark. So we we get home, or not home, but like off the plane, right? And so we go down And apparently there's only a few functioning plane trains, and that they're still possibly potentially broken from the last time. And so we were like a very far terminal away. Again, for those guys who know the Atlanta airport, you know how far away these terminals are. And we look and it says the next plane train isn't coming for 7 minutes. And we're like, oh, that's a long time. So we're just going to start like walking down the terminals, and we'll just wait until we finally like catch up to it. Because the plane's going to catch up to us faster than we can walk away from it. You know what I'm saying? So we start walking and we finally catch up to the plane train, and it is literally max, like you open the door and you're staring straight to face with like someone's nose. They have that thing so far like filled. There's just no way. Right? And keep in mind, I'm supposed to be Charlie's ride home because Charlie didn't want to pay $100 for an Uber at this point, and I can't blame him. So we are like 10-minute journey that should have been us just getting on the plane train and going to baggage claim took 35 minutes because there were no plane trains. And the next plane train that was coming after the one that was packed like sardines was like 15 minutes. And we said, great. We're not waiting for that, because if that one's just as full as the last one is, we're cooked. There's nothing we're doing about this. There's just nothing that's going to happen out of this one. And then we finally caught up with Charlie like 35 minutes later, and then we all went home, and then it was yesterday, and now we're here. Yay. So anyways, chat, that was New York. Didn't it sound like a magical time? Didn't it sound like really awesome, and that like you want to go back, or like you guys like really want to try out our hotel? It's like straight from God himself. So like next trip when? I think you and Blue come to us next time. As my friend, I would love for you guys to leave that state and you guys hang out with us in Atlanta next time. Thoughts? Me and Jace were watching Rich's stream talking about it, and he said it's one of the go fest of all time. No, it literally was. It literally was. I kid you not. I told Newt and Blue this because I was like, listen, they left our hotel room at like, I don't know, like what, 2 a.m., something like that. And then Blue dropped Newt off and then like made a 2-hour trek home, something like that. And so I was like, they literally just left this hotel. And when I tell them that like 3 hours after they left, our room got broken into, they're gonna think I'm punking them. They're not gonna think this is real. Please tell me you... Oh my gosh, sorry. I just took a drink at a really bad time. First and foremost, thank you for the $5 super chat over on YouTube. But please tell me you complained to corporate and left a bad review on Better Business Bureau because... no. I did not leave a complaint on the Better Business Bureau. I also don't know if there is a corporate. I'm gonna be real. Like, I don't want to say, like, what the hotel was, if you will, but it's not like it was, like, a Holiday Inn or, like, a Hilton, right? It wasn't, like, a big-name one, and so because of that, I don't know if there actually is a corporate, because it didn't even say, because, you know, like, sometimes it'll be, like, a random hotel name, but it'll say, insert hotel name here by Hilton, or, like, all the other ones. It didn't even have that. So, I don't know if there's, like, a higher up that we can even, like, go to, you know? But yeah, if you want to send me the details, you're more than welcome to. You did not need to super chat for that either, by the way. I appreciate you. I appreciate you immensely for that. But yeah, that's where we are. You just casually DMing us that your room got broken into sent me. Well, it was like, part of me was debating whether I waited until we were in call that night. But then I was like, what if they're not in call? I can't just sit on this. I need to rip the Band-Aid off, because I kind of wanted to hear your guys' like in-person reaction, which is kind of why I was like, maybe they'll be able to make it into the city again, because they're going to like literally go into orbit. But then I was like, but if they're so tired and then they're not in call, like I needed the dopamine hit then. And so I was like, all right, I guess I'm just going to tell them what's up. But yeah, I was like, they're literally gonna think that we're punking them. Oh, really funny thing too, chat. This is just another note on how bad this hotel was. So the elevators were awful. The elevators were just like the worst thing in the world. Sometimes you would press down and then they would go up, or you'd press up and then they'd go down for no reason. It's not like there was a person on the other floor that it was trying to like pick up and then like go on another level. So in like 2 of the 3 hotels, okay, so not hotels, there were 4 elevators. Okay, let's break this down. 4 elevators, 1 did not work. Now there are 3 elevators. So 2 of the 3 elevators just did not have buttons for floor 8. Floor 8 did not work. It literally was like they just removed the entire like button for it. It was just a hole where floor 8 should be, right? And Caden, my brother, Coob, is probably like the most charismatic, just like easy to talk to, tries to make friends with everyone kind of person ever. And so this family gets on the elevator with us, and Caden's trying to make friends and does what he does. And he's like, "Ayo, boss, what floor do you need?" Because he was gonna like put the floor in for him, you know what he. And so the guy goes, "Hey, so we're floor 8. And Caden goes to like push the button and realizes that there's no floor 8. And so he turns to the guy and goes, "All right, chief, you're not gonna believe this, but floor 8 is not an option. There is no button for floor 8. So do you want floor 7 or floor 9? Yeah. And so the guy was like, "Wait, what do you mean?" And he goes to like push where floor 8 would be, and obviously his finger just goes through the metal component. And he goes, "Well, that was worth a try." And Coop's like, "So what's it gonna be, boss?" And he goes, "All right, I guess we'll take 7 and we'll take the stairs." And so we get off at our floor, and Caden gets out of the elevator, and the doors are like shutting, like in typical movie fashion. Caden turns around, salutes him, and goes, "Good luck with that." Yeah. That was New York, everyone. That was New York. And so I was exhausted. I did the math. We walked so many steps in one day, chat. I think it was like probably close to, I would say like we probably averaged close to like 60,000 steps. Something like that across all of the days. We basically averaged like 20,000 steps a day, if not more. I know Saturday we basically were at 30,000. So, that was really slight. That was really sick, you know? Is this a new VTuber model? It is. I just feel like this is way more dynamic, and like people just like it more than they do like the bear and like the PNG tuber model that I had. It just felt like way too static and like not expressive enough. And so so here's the thing. I'd been debating getting this one off the start and just like doing this one, but then Vandy basically convinced me to like not start with this one and then to do the cheaper option. And then I decided that I hated both cheaper options that I did, and that I should have just spent money on this one, because then I never would have had to upgrade ever again. So this is what I wanted to start with, but then I was like, nah, I don't want to have it be too big of an adjustment. And, you know, because Vandu did make a lot of good points that it'd be a really big jump for you guys. You guys probably wouldn't like vibe with it right away and all that kind of stuff. But, yeah, I'm not trying to be like full-time VTuber. But for just the fact that I have just had such little capacity to like be on camera, I do have my doctor's appointment on Thursday. So I'm hoping that that gives me like the meds that I need in order to just like genuinely, it's just having capacity, chat. Like that's the only way I can like explain it to you guys, is like I just wake up every single day and I feel like I'm on 20% battery, and just everything that I do is so exhausting. So like showering, like a lot of times I just won't eat because the idea of going downstairs and making food is way too exhausting. Or like, you know what I mean? Like it's so much, or especially like after I've had a really long day at work and I just don't want to like go from being at work and being sweaty and feeling gross and just like all that kind of stuff to being on camera, especially being a girl, right? Like, no offense to the guys, but like if your hair's messed up, you can like throw on a hat and 9 times out of 10 you can just call it a day, because your appearance isn't meant to be like the #1 factor of like how people view you. Whereas like the women's sphere is being absolutely awful. Like if you look like shit, people will tell you. And like people do tell me. So, I don't like the pressure of like getting home and then being like, well, I hope I look good enough to where people don't tell me that I look like shit. You know? Especially the lights and just like everything else. It's just like, it's a lot when you already just don't have the like energy to even like exist. But like I want to stream because I care about streaming, and like I want to be like, you know, like present more, I guess is the word I'm looking for. But like it's hard when you already feel like you're just dying constantly. So anyways, all of that to say, I'm trying not to do this full time, but I think it's a much better option for the days that I don't have the ability or like wherewithal to be on camera than everything else. You know what I'm saying? Uni with the $40 dues. I guess that's 50. I can read, chat. I can read. Thank you so much for the $50, gamer. That's so kind of you. Thank you, thank you. Being perceived can be a lot. Yeah, it's the pressure of being perceived. And like the general public's opinions of you. And it's like, I don't know. There's a lot. There's like, I could go on girl tangent all day. I'm not going to though. But Uni, thank you so much genuinely for the $50. I hope you're doing well. It was wonderful to see you at Worlds last year. I hope that you're doing fantastic. I did see your member renewal earlier as well. Thank you so much for the 39 months, which is 3 years and 3 months. Hot damn, which is what Hawaii probably is right now, which is hot and damn. I'm assuming so, because Hawaii was toasty last year. Toasty. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate you immensely, gamer. Thank you, thank you. I hope life's treating you well. I hope that summer school is doing well for you as well, because I know you have a whole bunch of kiddos that you're watching right now. But it's a lot. Grounding imminent? Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? What did I do? Unless you're talking to Uni, in which case... Anyways! I had this nasty cop at first 2 weeks of being an assistant director for summer. It's been fun and amazing. You deserve it! And then, listen, you're gonna have a couple more, like, years maybe, and then you're gonna be director. And then you're gonna be calling the shots. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? It'll be like that, and it'll be great, and it'll be magical, and it's gonna be a great time, you know? Oh, Ariel was grounding you. I'm following. But no, I appreciate the $50 immensely, chat. I just, oh, brother. Do you see what I mean, chat? Where there's just genuinely no words. There's just no words at this point. La Boo Boo funds. Exactly, chat. See, now we can get more La Boo Boos that I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I have Boo Boo and Foo Foo. They're so silly. They're so silly. They're just... Chat, listen, Shan, you have corrupted my For You page with Labubu stuff, and I have seen some insane pictures, and there's one that I want to tell you that I can't say out loud because I don't want chat to start a whole different kind of conversation, but it was so funny. I literally was sent into orbit a little bit, and I was like, listen, I want to send this to Shan, but I've already messaged Shan twice today, and I don't want to bother her if she's busy, and that's how that went. Thank you for telling the full story. Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. Don't you feel just... I don't even know. Chat, how do you feel? How do you feel after that? Are you like, wow, I'm so glad I've never been to Times Square? Or like, wow, I never blame her if she never like steps foot in New York ever again. You know, like all of those. I don't know what you guys are feeling, but it's probably somewhere in that range, right? I'm ready to write a BBB review for you. You're so real for that. You're so real for that. Also, we're gonna stress test my PC real quick, chat. Why is... All right, I'm surprised there wasn't a flood or something. Oh, well, if this makes you feel any better, we had a really crazy, like, storm roll through, like, literally a couple hours ago. And in crazy fashion, my front door leaked and water was coming through our back door, and it rained so hard we actually had, like, river rapids in our backyard. Like, we had white caps. It was moving that fast. So, technically my house did flood earlier before stream. A little bit. Nothing a good trip to Home Depot can't fix, right, chat? Right? So, I guess there was a flood. Anything else? Because I could probably keep stacking on of just crazy things that have happened or are about to happen or something of the fashion. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Oh my god. All right. Hold on, chat. We're loading up the tornado. No tornadoes. I can say that. There are no tornadoes. Good news is, though, my extended family who did come down for a little bit, like right before we left for our flight, they did say that they liked the areas that we took them to so much that they actually were debating moving down. So that was really cool. So it would be nice to have, like, family down here that's not, like, 14 hours away by car. They're like, wow, yeah, Nebraska just really doesn't compare to this. And it's like, yeah, I wonder why. I wonder why Nebraska does not compare. That's interesting, that is, isn't it? So, I don't know. It probably wouldn't happen for a long time, but the idea of it's still pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? So, all right. Now that I've yapped your guys' ear off, do you guys want to play Pokemon for a bit? Ha ha. All right, let's see if I can make this work. We're cooking. It's trying. If this doesn't work, chat, I'm going to figure something else out. We're having... Do you guys see the issue? Are you seeing? Are you guys seeing? Hey. Wah! Hey, chat, I think it's broken. You guys didn't see that. You guys didn't see that. Hey, everyone, look at the game. Jingle, jingle. Jingle, jingle, everyone. We love gaming. Gaming loves us. And chat, do not make a fuss. All right. Garatina! Jingle, jingle, chat! Jingle, jingle! The one time I don't use my Steam Deck to press a button, never again. Never again will I not use my Steam Deck. All right, anyways. Jingle, jingle. Yeah, no one saw it. No one saw anything. Not a word was heard, spoken. You know? We're having a great time. We're having a great time. Okay. Anyways, chat. Welcome to Luminescent Platinum. It's basically Pokemon Renegade Platinum, but it's on the Switch. So, let me give you guys a little team recap here because I don't even know what our team is at this point, and we're gonna do the thing, right? We need to take on Gym 2, so we need to fight Gardenia, which is a little misleading because you're like, Linz, aren't you close to route like 210 or something like that? And I would say, yes, you are correct. So that's where we're at right now. So, we have 𝗟𝗡𝗓𝚗𝚗𝚗. She's here with the silk scarf. She's modest, which is a special attacking upping nature. You know what I'm saying? We have Ice Shard, Icy Wind, Ice Fang, and Bite. Nifty. Fantastic. We have Gengarette, our lovely Gengar with Hex, Poison Gas, Mean Look, and Confuse Ray. It's got Cursed Body with a neutral nature. He's our guy. He's sick. He's literally just a normal Gengar, except he looks different. You know what I'm saying? We have Riolu. His name is Ryu. He has the Soothe Bell. He's oh, jump scare. He's Lax Nature. Special defense, lowering defense, boosted nature with Force Palm, Low Kick, Work Up, and Metal Claw. And then we have Crimson, our Growlithe with Rock Slide, Bite, Reversal, and Fire Fang. Up in special attack, lower in speed, which is not the best nature, but we're gonna cook with it. He's holding the charcoal, by the way, too, for anyone who cares. We have Sophie, our Galarian Ponyta. It's Relaxed Nature, which is also just not great. This is also just not great. But we do have Stomp, Draining Kiss, Fairy Wind, and Covet, which is better than a lot of alternatives, you know what I'm saying? And then last but not least, we have 𝗂𝚗𝚗𝚗𝚗, I believe is so I was told to pronounce that. With Icy Wind, Payback, Aurora Beam, and Draining Kiss. It has a neutral nature. We're gonna like rehunt for 𝗂𝚗𝚗 and Ponyta when we are able to have like the Dex Nav and we can actually like Dex Nav hunt. That's the goal. So we will get better abilities and better natures and all that kind of stuff. We just need to get far enough for that to be an option. You know what I'm saying? That's basically what's happening. Anyways, chat, how are you guys? How was your weekend doing? Are we vibing? Are we surviving? Are we thriving? Are we... Team Q, I'm glad you agree. I'm so glad you agree. We do not like Quagsire. We do not like Quagsire, and Quagsire does not like us. So, this is just how it's gonna be. A ball of stress! Me too! But don't worry, psychiatry appointment on Thursday. Surely that will cure me. Surely I'll get some silly little medication and they'll say, wow, how have you been unmedicated for this long? And I'll say, I don't know. I gaslit myself into telling myself that I was fine and overreacting and being dramatic. And they're gonna say, you should have gotten it in here a long time ago. And I'm gonna say, yeah, you're probably right. You're off today because they said work was too much. Wait. They said you work too much? They forced you to use your PTO? Can they do that? Can they force you to use your PTO? I don't know. I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one. I'm so stressed the doctors told you that you have high blood pressure. Yeah, take care of yourself, bestie. I mean, like, same. I also just have naturally high blood pressure because I'm stressed all the time. And the fact that I consume caffeine. Which is not a good combination for either things. However, it's not high enough for them to, like, need me to be on medication. They just always take it. They're like, are you stressed? And I'm like, chronically, yes. That's basically how it ends up going. You're playing regular Brilliant Diamond? I hope it goes well, gamer. Fun fact, I never finished regular Brilliant Diamond. My favorite gen is Gen 4. Call me a fraud. Point and laugh. Point and laugh. If you start pulling my elbow muscle... Wait, if you count pulling my elbow muscle and having to wear an elbow brace is good, then I'm great. I didn't know your elbow had a muscle. I figured it would have been like your bicep, your tricep, but like your actual elbow? McKenna, you taught me something new today. You taught me something new. I did not know you could pull your elbow. That's a nifty fun fact. I am very sorry that that happened to you, but I'm at least more happy that you're okay and, you know, surely your elbow will be okay? Surely? It has to be? I make the rules, and therefore the rules have to listen? The 2 weeks have been a lot. Cleaning so my mom can sell the house. Grandma broke her hip and ribs. Oh my gosh, that's so much to handle at once, gamer. I'm so sorry. Hopefully your grandma's okay. Or at least, like, better. You know, like, she's probably not, like, you know, living like Larry. She's probably not like, yeah, we're totally fine. And, you know, acting like nothing happened. Vandy's FaceTiming me? I have to answer on my iPad? Hey. Hi.
What time are you wanting to keep it?
Whenever you want me to.
Okay, cool.
You're on stream, by the way. You're on stream, by the way.
Yeah, it'd be a real shame if I get to my chat now. But yeah, no, I tried to call Vin, I think they're gonna match, but I'm probably gonna join here in a second.
Okay.
Not on stream. But I'll probably join here in a second. I'm just doing permutation stuff so forth, and I hate them very much. If my channel were to die.
Okay. I can probably just switch.
Are you gonna stream it? Okay.
Yeah, I'd feel better going for at least a little longer, because I really only just told the story of New York, and that was, like, all I was able to do.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, okay. That's good. Okay, cool. I'll maybe chat or something like that, and we can go from there. That sounds good.
Okay, will you, like, ping me when we're, like, good and I can join?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. Thanks.
Love ya.
Love you too. Bye. All right. Hey, chat. So, nifty fun fact. So we were invited to play Unite with Vinny earlier tonight. I didn't know what time that was happening, and so I was gonna do it after stream. And I guess they want to do it right now. Oh my god. Well, good thing it's not a Nuzlocke. So we're gonna see if I can get my capture card to work with my Switch 2, because it has not been wanting to at all. It still works. Like, my Switch 2 itself is fine. I just had to plug it into my PC last night in order to get it to work. So after this battle, I'm gonna, like, finagle it real quick, and I'm gonna see what I can do, because I'm sure there's some way that I can make it work. I think my capture card is just being weird. Yeah, it's happening, like, right now. That was sick, was it not? That was really sick. It'll be fine, chat. We're all gonna do great, and we're all gonna have a good time. Okay. No, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be great. This is gonna be great. This is gonna be so good. This is gonna be so good. Okay, we're gonna click save. Yep. Okay. All right, we're gonna click the right button this time. Crazy. Okay, we're gonna close out of this. I'm gonna put on. Okay. Okay. I don't know why my voice is being weird. I'm gonna try to plug in my capture card to my computer, and we're just gonna see what happens, chat. How does Unite look on the Switch 2? Oh, it's so clean. It's so nice. Like, it's genuinely so sick. Okay. We're just gonna pray that this works, chat. Where's Discord? Because I'm gonna need to see Vandy's ping. Okay. Okay. Give me just a second, chat. Okay. I need to plug this in. Chat, you're never gonna believe me. What? He's FaceTiming me again instead of just coming into my chat.
So that was their LG.
They're not playing anymore?
Nope, after that is their LG. They've been going for like 5 hours. It's just they wanted to start right when I started streaming. I was like, I can't do that.
Oh. So we're not playing with them at all tonight? Right.
I had no idea when they were at. I said later, he said
Okay.
okay. But they said they wanted to play today. Go, but, yeah. So, I don't know.
Okay.
What?
That was just funny.
Okay. Alright, well, keep doing what you're doing.
Is there a reason why you FaceTime me for all of this instead of just going into my chat?
Is that still live?
Oh, I didn't know you were still live. Okay.
Yeah, I'm still live.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, I love you too. Bye. Chat, I don't know what's happening. Oh my god. Okay, I am just curious though. Is this capture card gonna work? It likes to not work. But maybe after it taking a nap last night and like trying again, it's gonna be like, yeah, let's work. Let's like be functioning members of society, you know? Yeah, it just doesn't work. I'm really... It has to be Elgato's issue too, because my Switch works, the dock works, and the HDMI cord works. I can play this as long as it's not on my capture card. I am... Okay, hold on, chat. You're gonna have streamception for a second. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't pick it up here either. Chat, I hate Elgato. Their stuff just never works for me, ever. I don't even know anymore. Okay. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna be really real with you guys. We're just so off the rails at this point. What I might genuinely do, chat, I might just call it here, and then we could just go back to everything tomorrow, because by the time I like get everything sorted, I can't do anything Switch 2 related because my capture card doesn't work. I can't, like, I just don't feel like we're gonna have enough time to like even like do a gym battle either. This might just be like story time. You guys got lore, and we just call it good from there, you know? But at least we got to test this out, and then I can spend the extra time like trying to get my capture card sorted. I can talk with Shan and figure out like why, like, I don't know. I just feel like the mouth tracking is either really good or it's really bad, and that confuses me. So I'm gonna see if I can talk to Shan and see if she can help me with like my app, like model stuff, and see if that is able to get any better. But we had story time. We had a little debut thing. You guys got to see this. It was cute. It's optimized for VBridge, or maybe you can download that. Oh, it's an app for mouth tracking? It might be. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. But okay, that's good to know. I'll look into that, and I'll see if that like solves my problems. But it's a nice model debut. Yeah, I didn't hype this up at all. I just kind of impulsively did it, which like I guess I probably could have hyped this up. But like I don't know. I feel bad hyping up a model that like I didn't like commission. You know what I mean? Like, this was just like, it's the 𝗂𝗏𝗂 model, you know? So it's like a lot of other people have this model. It just looks different because there's so much customization, you know what I mean? So I feel like it feels scummy to be like, hey everyone, here's my variant of the model that like 5,000 people have. You ready? I don't know. Okay. Anyways, chat. I'm probably just gonna call it. I don't know what's happening. This is just off the rails. I thought we were doing stuff with Vinny. We're not doing stuff with Vinny. The capture card's not working. Kablamo, kablumo. I'm gonna call it a night. But I hope you guys enjoyed story time. I hope you guys are like, you know, alive, and I'm glad that you guys are having great days, and I hope you guys at least had a better weekend than I did. To the people who crashed their car, I'm rooting for you, and I'm very sorry that you got in a car accident. For the people who got hurt this weekend, I hope you guys feel better. If you guys survived this weekend, congratulations, because that's just another accomplishment as well at this point. It's just survival at this, you know? Sometimes surviving is the most that you can do, and I'm proud of you guys for surviving another day, you know? This is your reminder, chat, to do self-care, because there's only one of you guys and nobody can ever replace you. And that's very important to remember. So do whatever you need to do. Hydrate, listen to your body, grab a snack, let your dogs out to go potty if they need to. But I appreciate you guys, and I will be back Thursday. Yes, because I close tomorrow. I have Thursday. Yeah. So, Thursday, I will be back, and I will hopefully be able to tell you guys that I got meds. That's the hook. That's the goat. That's the... Yep. I'm gonna stop yapping at this point. Have a good night, Jack. Goodbye.